Hey guys, and welcome to the daily recap for today, September 8th, 2022. And today was definitely an interesting day to say the least. So we'll start by talking real quick about the economic calendar for tomorrow. We only have a couple of events. Fed Waller and Mr. I believe speak tomorrow. Um, Yeah, we have Fed Waller and sorry, George actually. They both speak tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard. And so expect a little bit, be careful, expect a little bit of volatility around that time. Um, to look at today's price action on ES, which basically translates to SPY, we started the day over here. We're going to move to the 5 minute. And we started the day over here by a little, drop at the beginning of the day. And this orange line over here uh, is basically that resistance that touched from August 30th and September 2nd, and we broke above it. We came back, retested this area, and rejected. I actually did take a long position over here, but I closed it kind of quick. And we moved up really nice, broke above the about 4,000 area, and then we retraced back. Now, this area over here, once we hit this level, this created somewhat of a broadening formation, as you guys can see. But you know, came back, retested over here on the news that 0.75% percent is still on the table, which really wasn't news, and retested over here. We pushed back up, we broke. Well, actually, by the end of the day, we still stayed at the top of this broadening formation. And right over here on Globix, we opened above. It shows this gap over here because of the rollover of contracts for ES, for futures. So right now, it's trading or it's showing the levels for December contracts rather than September contracts. That's why it shows the gaps. If we actually try to look at um, September contracts, it wouldn't have shown a gap. Uh, with that being said, anyways, the levels are still the same levels that I have here on my chart. I'm not going to change anything, even though it might mess things up a little bit. But we're going to look for the plan for tomorrow. So, one of the things before we actually start talking about tomorrow that I want to mention is going to be our DEX and the market net flow. So actually, we start looking here at the market net flow today. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to also take along today. As you guys can see over here, uh, the flow was very bullish at the start of the day, and we had a bullish cross over here where the calls continued to move higher, and we have the puts falling lower, and it was until we actually hit the first stop around 4,000 or 4,011, and then we had this drop over here, that one that retested that resistance turn support again at around the 39.53 or so. Uh, After that, obviously, we continued with a bullish trend over here. We continued that and until the end of the day. The other thing is we want to take a look at DIX over here, which is a cumulative delta. The day before we had on 9/7, we had a green candle, which usually will give us a bullish bias towards the next day. And today we actually closed with a green candle as well. So it'll give us a little bit of a bullish bias for tomorrow as well. And the way that you trade this DEX over here is that you would take basically a contract uh, at the open. of the next day. Let's just say we close green like this. What you would do is you will take a call. Give yourself some time on it. Don't take zero day expiration because those are very risky. We're talking about SPY, of course. And you basically started it open, give yourself about 30% stop loss, and you continue holding until the end of day. You close by end of day. And historically, based on the testing, DEX here overperformed the S&P 500 by 2.5 times um, throughout the month of August, I want to say. And so um, to go back to the charts and take a look at ES and see what's going to be our plan tomorrow. So right now we're above that 4,000 level. We definitely want to see a hold above this level. If we would have like a very bullish momentum, we could retest over here in this area and move right back up to around 40, 44 or so. I want to say this area over here is of high importance for me. I honestly would be interested in perhaps taking a put on it because I want to say there are several factors actually that are causing me to think this way. First thing is you see this trend line down here where we have the touches from August 16th down to the 18th, and then we have August 26th, and of course we had that big drop, and then we are moving right back up here. This level has had some significant importance, I would say. Previously, back in the beginning of August, as you guys can see, once we break it and we held it, we moved a pretty decent amount from there. We moved about almost 6% from that level. Once we broke it, we came back and rejected, and we moved another almost 4.5% from that level. And so moving to this level up here, it's going to be hard to break. And I would assume that there's going to be somewhat of a rejection in this area. Now you have to keep in mind also that we have the CPI coming up on the 13th, and so we might reach this area. We might just continue until the CPI data comes out. But as far as like playing it level to level as we normally do, I would say for tomorrow, as long as we hold this level over here, the 4,000, I can see us, probably come back over here at around 44,000 or 4020 or so. If we hold it, we can bounce right back up to about 4045, and from there, we could probably hit upwards of 4,075. Now, the other scenario that we could see, it's still probably looking bullish as well, is if this 3990 level holds as well. I've had this level from previous points. As you guys can see here in this area, it does have a little bit of interest, where we rejected a few times before we, pushed back through it. We had this area of consolidation. So there could be a chance to actually come back down to this area. The absolute level that the bulls would like to hold, I would think, for tomorrow is going to be about 39.62, which is, if we break it, honestly, I'm not thinking that's going to be great for them. But it could probably take us another 40 or 50 points to the downside. So try not to catch a falling knife, and instead of trying to trade, reversals like that, just wait for some kind of a confirmation. So if we pull back over here and you see some kind of a rejection and bullish momentum perhaps on the market net flow, we already have a green candle on DEX, so we have somewhat of a bullish bias probably for tomorrow. But if you see something like, an engulfing candle or so that shows the rejection with large volume and bullish momentum, you can probably take it to the next level up, and perhaps it could go back up here to this area. Now, the other scenario that could also happen here is that we hold this level over here, and we open it with a gap up on SPY perhaps, and just continue moving to the upside upwards of 40.75. As far as bearish, honestly, I would probably say The only time I'm going to attempt to take a put is probably going to be if we reach this level over here at around 40.73 or 40.75. If we reach this level here with some kind of a bearish momentum on the flow, if I see that, I'll probably will take a stab at it. Um, I'll try to remind myself not to take anything with short expiration on this one because this will have a really nice risk to reward ratio. So the risk is going to be small per se. If we break above it, obviously that will be my cue to cut it. And the reward for it is going to be all the distance from here probably down to the 4,000, which is about 74 points, which is pretty nice, just assuming that we're going to continue on this upward momentum. But another thing that I also want you to take in consideration is that by the time that we reach this level, we would be up upwards of 5% on ES, and that would be the third green day. And third green day in a row, which we haven't had one of those, three consecutive green days in a minute. And so usually, I would say once ES is about up 5 or 6%, usually it will retrace at about 2 to 3% rate. The way that it is looking right now, I'm definitely waiting for this level to hit. I will definitely be interested in taking a put, probably even swing it from here. Nothing too large. It's not going to be something crazy. Obviously, if we go all the way up here, probably, if for some reason we squeeze then I probably be willing to go a little bit bigger, but on this level up here. But not sure what are the chances of that. I think this level over here, 40.75, is a pretty decent level to try to attempt start the short. Even upwards of, if we break above it, even upwards of 4100, 4110, I think is also a decent level to try to attempt a short on it. If we break this level over here, definitely we'll be looking for another long upwards of this level because we will be breaking above this resistance over here, this orange line that you guys can see. Um, the next thing that I'm going to be talking about tonight here is Dixie, the US dollar index. And as you guys see, we talked before about how the break above this level was very bullish and we hit upwards. I mean, I thought my target would have been about 100 and 1150 or so, but this drop was a pretty decent drop we had on it. And we're kind of, we're kind of making, lower lows at this point. If we would, let's go ahead and delete these doodles that we have for what we drew for cup and handle. And if you look at it over here, you have your higher lows and your higher highs. And this break over here below this level started making lower lows. And so we have now lower highs and lower lows. So we might come back here and retest. And if we're going to go to the downside, I would say, going from here, you would have targets down to about 108, 108, even 450 area over here. And from there, I would say that we might come down and test this region at 107.50. With that happening, that would coincide with ES probably ripping. However, if we reject in this region over here or in this area at around 108,500, that might happen to be around the same area for the 4,075 on ES. And if we show a rejection over here, you know, and move right back to the upside to continue this uptrend, and it would be a fake break over here, just trying to take, some liquidity grab and continuation to the upside. But, you know, um, again, let's just play it level to level. I would say a drop down to here to about 108, 422. And from there, if we see a strong rejection, your next level up is going to be about 109, 109, 378. Or if we break below it, your next target down is going to be about 107, 638, which would have actually a pretty decent reward over here for this play. So, I mean, And it looks pretty decent. Just remember, tomorrow's Friday, higher volatility, lower volume, and that's some of the things that we sometimes try to capitalize on if we play zero date expiration, which is pretty risky, but we go with smaller contracts and we have some fun usually trading those and make decent profit on it. I don't know if any of you is holding Luna Classic. I've been in this puppy here for some time, and the ride has been amazing. I just have fun with the chart over here. I would say like we're getting gas and stopping by Bucky's. If you're from Texas, you know what I'm talking about. I think this thing will probably continue ripping. There's a big hype about it. We'll see. Next thing I'm going to take a look at over here is oil, as usual. And I just drew a little regression trend over here on the downtrend that we have. As we said before, this area over here probably is a pretty good region for oil. I will attempt, I would think it would be not a bad idea for me to attempt a short here at around $85.75 per barrel. Going back down here to this area, I still think we might come down and test this region down here at around the $80 or even the high 70s. But before that happens, seems like we're going to go back up here and test this region. If that happens, I'll be willing to take a short on it. And again, this will have kind of a small risk and higher reward type position because if you think about it, whenever I'm looking to short this region here, my risk is going to be this much. And I would say, okay, if this thing breaks above this, above this level and it holds, that means my setup is incorrect. But if that does happen, my reward is going to be about, almost like 1 to 4. So this is a pretty decent setup to actually take a look at. Next thing here, I'm going to take a look at Coinbase. This is a setup I actually tweeted about in the past, maybe a week or so, talking about breaking above the $70.41 level. I actually did not take a position on this one today, even though it did break, but I actually was really busy and I didn't get the chance to look at the charts as much as I would have liked to. But this breakout would have been very nice actually to take a trade on it, the break of $70.41 and going long from there. Next target up is going to be about 74.58. What I think might happen tomorrow, especially if we have a bullish day, if we have a little pullback and then a continuation to the upside, we can see uh, Coinbase do this, hit this target, and if we break, we'll probably even go upwards of 76.34. From there, there is a really good chance for it to hit upwards of 79.81. Seems to be a gap over here in this region from August, excuse me, from August 18th that fills upwards of $82. So, it's something to keep an eye on. Gaps usually get filled, and you just need to make sure that if you're going to take a trade like this one, I definitely don't want to see Coinbase below $70 for this upward momentum to continue. So, like I said, we might have like a little pullback here tomorrow morning and probably a continuation towards this target, upwards of $75. If that's the case, this is probably what I will take. $5 move, that would be outstanding. And it definitely can happen in one day. I'm not sure I would want to hold for more than that, just because, I don't really like to hold positions over the weekend. And Bitcoin is pretty volatile. If Bitcoin, which I'm somewhat bearish on, if it ends up dropping over the weekend, what you're going to end up having is, you know, a pretty solid drop here in Coinbase. Another stock I would like to look at, it's not a stock that I like to trade much, which is Meta. I'm just doing here this little analysis here because of one of our buddies. We were taking a look at it yesterday. It seems like here, honestly, I would say this region here, I would think it's likely to be tested, especially if ES continue to the upside. Um, but I wouldn't probably try to long it past this region here. I think that we can say that we have a little bit of a resistance over here on the 162.58 area, and if that breaks, we can continue and see move upwards of 165, and you know Facebook obviously can continue and continue ripping, especially on a day with high volatility if we end up having that tomorrow. But the way I'm looking at it here is that to the upside, just a break and hold above this region of 162.50. If we hold above this area, I would probably take it long to 165 if I'm to trade it. Again, I don't really like to trade Meta, so it's not the stock that I look at all the time. Meta does well on swings if you can actually predict where this thing is going. You can actually hold it for some time and make some nice moves on it. However, on day trades, as you guys can see, this thing can chop and or on short swings, I should say. This thing can chop and consolidate for some time, like here between August 1st and the 16th, like an entire week. It was just pretty much, sitting in the same spot. So this is kind of like what I really don't like about it. The next one I want to take a look at here is Netflix. This is a stock that I've been eyeing for a short position, honestly. And as long as we don't break above 233.53, this puppy will be a good candidate for a short here at this level. I want to say that if we have a bullish day tomorrow and if we end up breaking above this level over here of about 230, I want to say. This is actually I want to say I'm going to go ahead and put an alert on it on the 230 specifically. It's a whole number and it's a little bit higher actually than the high of day on the 7th of September. But again, 230 is a solid, is a whole number, $5 increment. I usually consider these as targets or as triggers for entry. And if this thing breaks above and breaks above the $230, as you guys can see, this little downtrend channel here, or not channel, let's just call it like a trend line over here as a resistance. If it breaks above it, chances are we're going to go and touch the previous high before it because we have lower lows, lower highs, as you guys can see. And so if we started making higher lows and we want to make higher highs, chances are if you break here, we're going to try to test this level up here, upwards of 233.97 or so. It wouldn't be a bad move for a day trade if this thing breaks. I might even actually put a conditional order on it if it breaks and it prints to take a call on it, where I would basically set up my broker once the price of Netflix prints above 230. I can have it actually give me a call immediately for the mid price between bid and ask. And so if that happens, it will be faster than me trying to take a look at it myself. I'll add another alert here down below, just so that when we get close to it, I will get ready to do so. Um, Apple, I want to take a look at it just because today I thought, the chart looked kind of bearish to me, and I didn't trade it. I don't really trade it that often either. It's not a stock that moves a lot, and for day traders, to me, I think, unless you're taking swings on it for day trades, it's not something that I always like, to be honest. So that's why I don't look much at it. I will though look at the chart. Seems like we've had a lot of indecisive action over here, like the day over here, pretty much, I would say, kind of flat. We dropped and we pushed back up almost towards the open where we closed the day. So it's not a whole lot. We could probably see, I don't know. Honestly, I would think that we might come down and test this area over here of the 150, just with it being like a whole number, $5 increment. It's gonna be some kind of a magnet for the price to come back down here to this area. But you know, to take a put on it, I want to say I would like to see it move up towards that 159 area perhaps, and reject here in this region. And again, we're talking about these short positions. I would have to see a short position also on the S&P 500. Try to take calls on green days, take puts on red days. And so I'm kind of expecting somewhat of a green day tomorrow if that happens. Obviously, wouldn't be a smart idea to take puts, try to play against the current. And if we end up having a red day tomorrow, then we can take another look at it. But honestly, I'm not sure if it will be Apple the one that I will be trading. So, the main deal over here is just looking at this chart over here on ES, which is pretty much our bread and butter. That's what we trade for the most part. And I would say, as of right now, I'm really watching for this area to go back up, for this price to go up here to this area, and from there, probably try to take an attempt at a short and see how it happens. One thing I read on Twitter that there was large positionings for market makers on puts for 916, so that might cause somewhat of a sell-off prior to that date. Take these types of data with a grain of salt. Just, don't make it your deciding factor. But I would say if that was, a cause for a sell-off, that could be triggered by pretty much anything. Could be triggered by, CPI data, could be triggered by any kind of data that could be, you know, a press release or anything like that that could cause somewhat of a sell-off, in this region over here. But again, I'm really interested in taking a put around this area. So anyways, this is it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be live tomorrow morning in the Discord. If you're new watching this channel, I would love for you to subscribe, and we do weekly analysis for the most part every week on Sunday, and we trade on Discord. You'll see the Discord link in our channel description. And we are running a special to have the first month for free. If you join, the details for the coupon will be in Discord. See you there. Thank you so much.